Hello, welcome to Fanciful Spaces. My name is Hannah Rubenstall. I am the card crafter here at Fanciful Spaces. And today I thought I would do a Just the Tips video on rubber stamps. Most people that I know of tend to prefer acrylic stamps, or photopolymer stamps, such as these by Kindred Stamps. They are super easy to see through, to line up, and to negotiate where certain items come from. But not all stamps are made in photopolymer, and you may find some really great stamps that you want to use, such as this one that has a rubber stamp. These stamps are from I Break for Stamps. There are other very popular companies out there that produce rubber stamps, and rubber stamps are the traditional sort of stamps stampers used until, photopolymer came along. So the disadvantage with these stamps is that it's very hard to figure out, to line up where the image is going to be and how you want things done. So I'm going to give you a little tip if you struggle with this. Here I have my Misty. Ignore the fact that it needs a bath. It is super duper dirty, and we're going to ignore this stamp right here. I couldn't wash because I needed this stamp to stay right there for another project that I'm working on. With rubber stamps, you want to remove the foam pad that you have and any other item that you have off of here. You do not need those. And I'm going to flip this around so I'm not using the area where that stamp is at. Now, you could absolutely take your stamp and line it up using the grid pattern here on your Misty. That is totally fine. If you are like me, you need a visual representation of your card shape. And for example, putting a base layer down that you want. And you could totally eyeball this. If you're not nitpicky, it's probably perfectly fine. The problem comes is if you have any design elements already existing on your paper that then you want to use a rubber stamp for. And let me show you how to do that. Say you have a design element right here or whatever, or you want this stamp evenly lined up, perfectly lined up. Take a piece of acetate with grid paper printed on it. And this is a free download. You can get this from My Sweet Petunia. You can probably find a variety of other downloads. And I printed it on overhead transparency plastic. This is what I have in my house. I'm sure there are other forms of acetate plastic out there that work. I am going to center this as best as I can because the grid is slightly smaller than an A2 sized piece of paper. The white is an A2 sized piece of paper. And I'm going to magnetic it down. Now, I used this stamp for a card that I'm showing on Sunday, and I used my Zig water brush markers on them. Because of that, I had to use StazOn ink. You don't want to use StazOn ink for this part here. I did what I'm showing you how to do, and I didn't use StazOn ink. You want something that wipes off clear. So center your stamp whereabouts you think it works. Suction it up. Keeping the acetate down. You do not want to remove this until you are happy. Take an ink that washes off really easily. I used my Memento Tuxedo Black. Ink up your stamp. And then, it doesn't have to be perfect at all. You're not going for perfection. You're going for eyeballs. Stamp that down on your acetate. For my printer, I don't know what inkjets are like. I have laser printers. I have an inkjet. My ink will wash right off if I scrub. So I had to make sure that the printed side of the grid was down. And then I could take a look and see, I feel like the stamp could go down a hair and to the left a hair. So then I just take a stamp chamois, my super dirty Lawn Fawn stamp chamois, that needs its own bath, and you can wipe it off. Whoop. You might want to use some scrap paper here or cover it. Be cleaner than I was because I got my piece of paper dirty. Don't worry, that was just a piece of scrap cardstock that I have, or not the best cardstock. Wipe down your stamp And then I felt like it needed to go down just a touch, so I'm going to move down a little bit, pick up that stamp again, and try again. In theory, you don't mess your paper up. You could have cut a wider margin on your acetate to have protected this, and honestly, that's what I have for my piece of acetate that I tend to use. I just see, I have some space around here. You can see here I wore off the ink. I printed off a clean grid for you guys for this video. And then just stamp down. Imagine if you had a die cut already existing on the paper, or you knew where one was going to go and you needed to place, you know, maybe a sentiment or something like that. This is so perfect for allowing you to see exactly where your stamp is going to go. If I am happy with the placement of this, then great. Take off the acetate. Do a very good job cleaning off your stamp with the stamp chamois. You don't want to take it off of the grid of your MISTI for obvious reasons. But you also, if you're like me in my project, didn't want the Memento Tuxedo Black on the final project. You want to do a really good job of wiping that down. And then you could go in with your StazOn or whatever ink it is that you are choosing to use and stamp your project. So that is today's Just the Tips video, lining up rubber stamps. Couldn't be easier, and in theory, unlike me, you don't ruin anything in the process. Just be a little bit neater than I was right there. And there you go. I hope that this helped you. I hope that you have a great day, and let me know in the tips if this works for you, or if you have any other tips. I'd love to learn from you. Thank you so much, and have a great day.